So the new file is definitely recording now.
It is recording.
You better to load up.
Jawohl.
The mole? I have a mole?
Synthaholics. Mole.
Wasn't your mole on the other side?
What mole?
I have a mole?
All right, here we go. Welcome to Synthaholics. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. Today you have myself, Aaron O'Brien, and Dave Duncan. What's up, Dave?
Poop is up.
Poop?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get it up there?
I mean, when you get full, it just comes out. And that's apparently what apples are made of in the future.
Yeah, I know.
It's just so funny. We were kind of right. We always talked about
we always said that was the case. Yeah,
we always talked about just they eat the shit and it just it comes back out like the Klingon gawk and everything. It's just we were on the nose.
So guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, we are talking about the last 3 episodes of season 3 of Discovery, which is Su'Kal, There Is a Tide, and The Hope Is You Part 2. So we got that part 1.
Strange. I think, didn't they just rename the episode at the last second?
They did, yeah. They did that to throw you off. Okay. But, so we got into the whole replicator dynamics of what's happened. So it's basically, as Admiral Vance tells Osira, it is their shit recycled, which, we knew that. And, she's kind of grossed out by it, but, what are we talking about? It's it's been literally beamed, and then its molecules have been rearranged, so it's not shit anymore.
It used to be. I mean, it was just it was organic matter. It's what it was always. I'm what other organic matter would be in abundance on a starship?
Shit.
Lots from Worf. All that prune juice, with all that replicated shit prune juice he's been drinking.
I know.
It's just diarrhea, right?
Well, as they say, Dave, if you have 2 pounds of shit and you mix it in with 10 pounds of ice cream, you get 12 pounds of shit.
Yes. And if you stick it into a sock, you can get all 12 pounds of it in there. Because
why would you put it in a sock?
Wasn't it a Mythbusters thing where they
I don't know.
Couldn't they put they're trying to put 16 pounds of shit into a sock or a glove or a bag? They're trying to figure out how much they get.
I don't think I've seen that, but I've heard that saying, put 16 pounds of shit into something.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. That's why I said a sock. Yeah,
that's pretty gross. It's something.
Mythbusters are literally trying to fit all this shit. I'm wow.
That's
some
pretty
dedication.
Gross. Yeah, that is. Dave, we want to go through this recap, but we have an announcement to make.
Yes, we do. You want to take it away?
Yeah, guys. So if you have not been paying attention, we are rapidly coming to our 300 episode, and we have been doing some soul searching, and I think we're going to take a little time off after our 300 episode. We're going to kind of retool things, think things through, think about maybe a different avenue we might take with the podcast, maybe even completely rebrand it. We're not sure yet. We just feel like we're a little unmoored from where we originally thought we were going to be and how we'd feel about the universe of Star Trek when we started this. Whatever, 5 years ago.
Yeah, almost 6, I think. And then also just the state of fandom is just in a weird flux where
for everything, really, almost. But
yeah, but it's just if you have an opinion and it's not absolute glowing praise, you are a horrible person.
And if it's not, I hate Star Trek or the new Trek, then it's you're an idiot. So
yeah, it's there's no no
nuance, no room for nuance.
Dare I say it, shades of gray.
No. Yeah. If you've listened to us for a while, especially with the new Trek, we praise the episodes we love, we praise the characters and the moments we love, but we also give our fair share of criticism. But to be fair, even our most beloved series, you love Deep Space Nine. I love the original series. We mercilessly, dig into those and mock those and put things down that we don't like. And we're just we're critical, and not in a mean way, but there are certain things that jive and certain things that don't jive. And sometimes, the writers, the acting, whatever is not right. So.
There's also just a sea of Star Trek podcasts, and we're just getting lost in it.
Yeah, that's true. And with Discovery coming, Discovery Picard and Lower Decks, a lot of people have catapulted kind of like their either podcasts or their YouTube channels into, the stratosphere. And great for you guys for getting that far. But we never really hit for that. We never really made it into that. And it's like, maybe this isn't us,
I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I feel like we're too real for a lot of the audience, because the audience is either split to the I love Star Trek all the way or I hate it all the way. And both of those genre
we don't like either one of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's like either one of those genres of podcasts / YouTube channels. Those are the ones that are taking off. The Doomcocks, the whatever, and then you've got some of the other ones. Then you've got some people like Kedawalski who will like give it to you one way or the other. But like, I feel like most of the people are either on the love it all the way side or the hate it all the way side, and there's not very many in the middle that have been super successful. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like maybe we might just break into talk about what we want to talk about, not just. I mean, we've been moving toward that way anyway, talking about different movies and different shows like The Expanse. So, I mean, we might just move harder into that and then start recapping Star Trek on like a Red Letter Media like basis, where they only do 1 or 2 episodes a season.
And the rest will be pornography reviews.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, and the Suburban Sasquatch all the time.
So we don't know where we're going to go. We are going to take a little break for a while.
After episode 300.
After episode 300, yeah. So we're gonna do a couple things just before that, and then we're going to kind of figure out else what we want to do. So I mean, it's a big world out there, and there's a lot of great content that's out there now, and a lot of things we love and that we don't really get a chance to talk about as much. And a lot of things are like peripheral stuff, like. Dave's a big gamer. He loves a lot of games. And he's talked a little bit about it. You've had a couple episodes where you talked about games. Mm-hmm. I'm a big comic guy. There's all sorts of stuff we could be talking about that we don't really get into too often. So, I mean, there's lots of things we could be talking about.
God, we could do like a cyberpunk episode eventually. I mean, you could tell us about the tabletop game. I could go into the video game. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm taking a break from it because it's very broken right now.
Oh.
But,
did it break on you?
Oh, it's got lots of little bugs. I love it, but it's just I want to see if they can fix it a little bit before I go back into it.
I see. But yeah, so let us know what you might think. You can always just hit us up at synthaholics@yahoo.com.
Yeah, we'll still check our email. We'll still check our Twitter. We'll still check our Facebook group. We're still going to be around.
We're around. We're not dying.
we're not. Bones isn't pulling the plug on us. Dialysis, man. It's not an incurable disease like Bones' father had. Also, his name was David, by the way. Don't kill me, Bones.
Pull the plug.
I need my pain, but not that much. Let us know what you think about the break. Do you guys still interested in hearing what we have to say, even if it's not about Star Trek? Should we rebrand? I mean, everything's in flux, so your opinion and input could be helpful.
You could steer our destiny.
Put a rudder in my butt. I'm sure everyone's just jumping on their email right now, be like, right, "Oh my god,
put that rudder in there."
I cannot believe. Yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, let's move on to our last 3 episodes of season 3 of Discovery. we're not going to go into too much detail, but let's just talk about each episode real quickly. We have Sulika. Sukal, yeah, which is the 11th episode, aired December 24th, just before Christmas Eve on year 2020. Yeah, so they get to this nebula, the Rubin Nebula, and they discover where this distress signal is coming from, and it is from this ship that is crashed onto a massive planet, dilithium planet, and they have to figure out where the survivor, if they're around. So, and I don't want to say I called it, but Osira is the one that's going to gum things up.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just thought it was too rushed to really, I don't know, to hit it home. It's just bizarre writing decisions, like the entire last 3 episodes. Mm-hmm. So they find the planet, they beam down, find out there's a Kelpian that caused the burn.
Yeah, and well, we don't find that out quite yet, but I mean, all the arrows point to this Kelpian, and we find that they've all been altered. So
they're in a holo program.
Yeah, so, and we get to see Saru as a human.
As Doug Jones, which was, I mean, I guess kind of fun, but I mean...
I don't know if we've ever seen him ever do a role in something where he's, like, totally without makeup. I don't know. I mean, maybe he has. I just don't recall. So he's been in so many
The Moon
movies.
Man, the McDonald's commercials, he didn't have any makeup.
Was he the Moon Man?
Yeah. I think so.
Mac Tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
Get the hell out of here. I gotta look this up right now. But I mean, that's I thought that was kind of interesting choice that they decided to go with.
I mean, it was interesting. It just, I mean, holographic stuff doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, like giving Culper a nose and you know, burn him some dots. That's one thing, but like Saru's like, I can feel my heels on the ground. Like, how did it physically alter his like?
Alter you? Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
If it's just a visage, you wouldn't feel your heels on the ground. But he specifically says it, which makes no freaking sense. That's not how holograms work. I mean, I know in First Contact, Picard's like, "How about something in satin?" And like they get holographic like clothes put over top of their rags or whatever they were wearing. I mean, Lily had rags, but it showed her cleavage somehow. So I guess it took it or just projected holographic cleavage over her rags. I don't know, whatever.
But he did play the Mac Tonight guy.
Yeah. See?
I did not.
It's not necessarily. I mean, it's probably just a big helmet. Not necessarily.
Oh yeah. I just think it's funny that McDonald's used a song called "Mac the Knife" about a serial killer, and they used it for a commercial.
Both Doug Jones and Donald Trump have been in McDonald's commercials.
I think a lot of people have been there. But anyways, yeah. So I don't know. It was a little odd. Interesting concept about keeping their child safe and shielded from the radiation of this dilithium planet. In this, and like kind of like teaching them and stuff like teaching the child.
This mom made a bunch of programs really fast.
She's like, well, I'm assuming they must have had some time to figure this shit out, you know, but you know, I don't know.
I mean, probably not much, considering how fast everyone on the crew of Discovery beamed down was deteriorating. Mm-hmm. I mean, Culper said if you're gone more than a day, forget it. So, I mean, the mom had to, like, program all this stuff in, like, a day. Like, ignoring her child's like, be quiet. I'm making babysitters for you for 120 years.
Yeah, and so this Kelpian is named Sukal, and kind of is a mind of a child. Doesn't really doesn't comprehend a lot because obviously he's never had really adult interactions throughout his life. He's had these, you know, what do you want to call just like teaching programs and stuff like that that are there, but they don't really give him any kind of life experiences. So
too bad Michael Burnham didn't volunteer to be the sex ed program.
Yeah,
because his mom probably didn't program that in because she figured her son would be rescued before the need for that.
What does this mean? Why does my penis engorge so?
Well, he seems like a really scaredy cat, and like he should have gone through. I'm blanking on it now.
Oh, what's it called?
I said it earlier when I was watching the episode. No,
it's the puberty thing where they
second puberty where they lose their ganglia. I know people over you're yelling at us what it is. I'm just like
we'll come up with it in a minute. Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
So yeah, he didn't. His ganglia never shot out. So shouldn't he be less scared now since he'd presumably gone through it?
I don't know.
Or was he so messed up that he didn't even form ganglia? I don't know. He was just always scared. And his scream sort of
Vaharai.
Yes. Yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue.
I'm sure.
Yes. I mean, I said it. I literally said it like an hour ago when I was watching.
You said
the episode.
it. Yeah, I know.
Because I watched I actually watched these episodes really close together. I watched the two 11 and 12 yesterday, and then I watched 13 today. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of nice watching them all together because it was kind of like a 3-part episode, all no time in between them, which was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, it was interesting, and obviously that they have this, but obviously the nebula's like hiding a planet. The lithium planet is highly radioactive. It's just a complete mess. Like you would not want to be hanging out there whatsoever.
And the writing is a complete mess because they find the life sign from however many thousands of light years away, but as soon as you get right up next to it, they can't tell it's there anymore.
I think it's there. So Saru goes down with Culber and Michael Burnham, and they put Tilly in charge. And unfortunately, while Tilly's in charge, Osira shows up, and they have an exchange. And Tilly tries to act all tough, but Osira is not really taking her too seriously. So, and they get boarded and taken over by Osira. And
because the kid screams and starts another burn, or a micro burn.
Yeah, so that was our first clue. So yeah, Sakal screams out at some point, and there's this huge, disturbance in the force kind of thing, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" So, but it throws off the Discovery's game, and
it throws off their cloak. So I guess it only took 900 something years for the Camp Kittimore Accords to go away, so the Federation can use cloaks. So only 900 more years, and we can finally use time travel again. Hey, I hope. Maybe they can jump forward another 900 years, so we can get back to time travel.
Yeah. So then let's jump into the next episode. There is a Tide, which is the 12th episode of season 3, and aired New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2020. And
just one last thing that happened right before the end was that they took some radiation meds and beamed over to Book's ship, and then
Adira went. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into all the nuances. Adira went down with them, and then Michael beamed up with Book, and Book got her out of there. So. When they get out, they see that Discovery has left, and they're going to Federation headquarters, and they do a spore jump because they take over Stamets' brain with some kind of neuron.
It's like a brain box from Dino Riders.
Dino Riders?
Yeah, Dino Riders.
Oh God.
It looks literally like one. They put it on their head and it controls them.
So, so they take over Stamets' head so he can make the jump, and we have this other character we're kind of like introduced to, a scientist that works for Osira that is kind of helping her figure out how the spore drive works.
Mr. Kenneth Mitchell, the guy who was our Klingon antagonist in season 1.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah, that's the Cull. Cole?
Cole.
Cole?
Cole.
Wasn't that Cole?
Oh.
Cole was the bad guy in season 1, right?
I thought it was. Are you talking season 1 of
Discovery?
Discovery? I thought it was Vogue.
Vogue was the Klingon, the one who took over that sarcophagus ship because Vogue got kicked out and became Ash Tyler because Cole kicked him out.
Oh, I don't know. That was him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Burnham fights him later.
I remember it. Yeah, it was a cool fight scene, actually.
And then she jumps off and beams away. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually, it's probably one of the highlights of that season.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool fight
between them.
Yeah, Cole. Yeah, he was Cole, and then Cole Shaw in season 2, the old Cole's father, grandfather, or whatever. He was only like 1 or 2 episodes on the Klingon planet in season 2.
Eventually, yeah. You're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, wow. What a transformation.
Oh, he was also the albino Klingon in season 2.
Nice. Yeah, and...
he played the baby so good.
That was a good baby. His character is Aurelio? Anyways.
The Aurelio Cineo Hall show. He's got the flat haircut, goes to whoop whoop.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Anyways,
yeah,
so he is looking to get this information and try to figure out the spore drive for Syra. He has like a different view of Syra because apparently Syra has been giving him the velvet glove treatment. So he feels that she is just
the gentle prostate exam.
Yes. So yeah, he thinks she's great. So and when we have an exchange later on when Stamets wakes up, that he's like, she's awesome. And he's like, I don't think so. So,
your awesome and my awesome are 2 different kinds of awesome.
Yeah, we have a different definition of awesome. I'd like to a little later. I'd like to get your take on the character of Syra. But
who?
Yes. So they get to Federation headquarters, and they make it look like they're giving chase to them with their ship, the Viridian, and Federation lets them in, and then Admiral Vance has realized. Syra's on the ship on Discovery, and we just let her in through the front door.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So she wants to broker a deal between the Emerald Chain and the Federation, that they broker a deal together, they start working together. Admiral Vance entertains it. Why is this Admiral Vance and not a president or any other?
We didn't take time to cast the president. That's why.
I guess. Yeah.
We couldn't get Red Foreman on such short notice.
Mm-hmm. Red Foreman. Put my foot up your ass.
I want him to come on and say that to us, Ira. That would have been great.
Yeah. So, but during that time, too, Michael Burnham and Booker gave chase to Osira and Discovery, and they've come to they've warped to Federation headquarters. So
they crash land into Discovery Shuttle Bay because the door is always open because it has no door.
Yeah, I guess you can just slam into the back of a ship even when their shields up and getting shot at.
Well, they said it was like the shields were down for a second while they went through the shield of the Federation bubble.
I must have
headquarters. Yeah, it was just a quick little one-liner thing. They did kind of say that.
Yeah, so they're sitting there talking and trying to figure out if that's what they want to do. And then we basically have Michael...
going full-on Die Hard.
She has total Die Hard. She loses her shoes, fighting somebody, and...
gets her leg stabbed.
Gets her leg stabbed, so she's bleeding, she's limping around. The only thing she did not do is walk through glass.
But she got barefoot, so she got like blood all over her feet. And it's
I'm sure she stepped on like something sharp and hurt her foot.
Well, apparently they've got all these engineering flaws all over the ship, so there's probably sticky burrs sticking up on that flat surface, just like on the captain's chair, because no engineer ever decided to take a little like a sandpaper to it ever.
Right.
Between the Shinzo and the Discovery, because God forbid when they did the refit, they just smooth out all the edges.
That was not, by the way, that's not a burr. That's like literally a button.
It was like a screw.
Yeah, like that's not a burr.
So you're saying Giorgio is such a badass, she wore down an entire screw with her finger?
I mean, that's possible. But a burr is literally just like a little piece of like metal or sticking out. It's an imperfection in whatever material. So when they showed it, I was like, that's not a burr. That's literally like
that's a screw,
of a screw, or some kind of like someone stuck their gum under there.
That's I don't know. Phillips head screw with a dome top.
It was an interesting little story, obviously. So, but anyways, we regress because that's that's last episode. Anyways, so they're talking over their plans, and meanwhile, Osira has good faith, lets most of the Discovery crew go. They put them on a shuttlecraft to the headquarters, but they keep all the bridge crew in the mess hall. And while they're there, they start doing Morse code between a couple of different Bryce and not Detmer, somebody else, but they're doing Morse code, talking to each other. And when they bring Book in, and what's his name? The Endorian.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't live very long.
No, his name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, they're doing that, and they kind of like frustrate the hell out of the Orion guards. So yeah. I found it a weird workaround that they put them all in motorcycle helmets so they don't have to do the makeup. Well,
it's just the same thing they did with Star Trek Picard for the guys that went after what's her face.
I know.
For forgettable data clone number 1.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go into the whole thing where they get they get the guards so worked up that they attack them and they take their guns. So, I mean, this is like Orions are like the worst guards and people.
It's just so funny. They went with like all these small, scrawny Orion guards. Every single male Orion. I mean, they may not have been Orions. It could have been maybe they're a bunch of Morns. Because every single male Orion we've ever seen before has been like just a hulking wrestler type. Like Lou Ferrigno played one on Star Trek Continues, and Enterprise, all the male Orions were just jacked. Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, even the one we saw in the first episode was a little bit jacked. The one guy, he was definitely bigger than the, he wasn't super jacked, but he was definitely bigger than the Andorian he was standing next to in the first episode.
Absolutely.
Maybe they weren't, who knows what they were? But I mean, their uniforms were like almost Klingon-esque from TOS. That's what they kind of reminded me of a little bit.
Yeah,
like the color scheme.
Was just kind of not impressed. I just figure they're just faceless guards, and I understand what they were doing, but it was just like, okay, but could have been a little cooler to have more Orions running around, or more Andorians for that. I know there was a few we saw, but not as much as I'd like to see, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a couple, and the thing is, like, you only see them, like, glancingly, so they could have just used the same actor over and over again, or the same person, because, I mean, all the background Orions, or Andorians, you never really got a good look at.
Right, exactly. And then, so they take the jump, and they find out that they jump on the Orion guards, Emerald Chain guards, and they get control of the mess hall, I guess, where they're being held, and they make a plan how they're going to get Discovery back. So they're working on that. Meanwhile, Michael Burnham is causing havoc, running through the Jeffries tubes and everything else. So and they're supposed to find out. They're trying to find her. And back in Federation headquarters, Admiral Vance basically rejects Osira's offer, saying that to go forward, we need somebody in charge that's not you, that's not in that can't be like controlled by you, and also you have to pay for all your past crimes.
Well, I mean, he doesn't reject it. He just gives her his own, he gives her conditions. There's no way she's going to go for that. Like, you have to be held accountable for your past crimes. She's not going to go for that. There's no freaking way. Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, I mean, I know she wasn't, but I mean, like, it's just, I mean, like, she came to him with all these things, but I mean, of course, the Federation's gonna not take it face value. There's got to be some kind of counter argument or, counter deal for it to go through, and she refused it outright. But I mean, of course, she's narcissist and wants to be the new god of the Federation.
Right. Well, so she storms off, goes back to Discovery, and she wants. This is where the bridge crew escapes, but Book and Rin, the Andorian, are captured, and she wants Rin to fix the sensors and so they can find this dilithium planet. But Rin doesn't want to do it, and Osira blows him away.
I was, as soon as like they gave that speech when they were like trying to hold off in the room, I was like, oh, Rin's gonna die. And then he did.
I was surprised they killed him because he seemed like everyone liked him. And then
I liked him too. And Kaylee, she was saying, oh, I hope they don't kill him. And I'm like, oh, they're totally going to, since they gave that like the little speech, before when they were guarding the room. It's like, oh, they're totally going to.
So they and then it's funny when I watched this the first time, them getting the drones, the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Like saying, how can we help you? I don't know what happened, but I don't know if I fell asleep or I turned it off too early, but I completely missed a scene. And I didn't see it until they did the recap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then that they realized that these little dots are being controlled by the sphere. So anyways, then we go back to That Hope Is You, Part 2. Oh, wait, real quick, there's a tide. Michael shoots Paul Stamets out of Discovery.
He's wearing one of the animated series life support belts, basically.
Yeah.
They brought that back, kind of. I mean,
they did, and when you look at what has happened...
It looks like he gets bent in half and, breaks his back, but, he's fine. Why
she did that, and then this next episode, The Hope Is You, Part 2, they get Book to pilot the Spore Drive. So why did they get rid of, maybe because they knew that he would jump immediately to the lithium planet if he was captured, but...
Kenneth Mitchell, I guess they weren't sure it would work for Book, but Kenneth Mitchell theorized, because he had that empathic ability.
Right.
So... maybe they can just get a whole bunch of Books people to be Starfleet pilots and spore jump everywhere now, since they said the tardigrades are extinct. And I'm like, how? Did they ever look?
Did they know where to look?
They just gloss over all this stuff, assuming it's it was how it happened. Or just, I mean, with no research that we can tell. Though they said they couldn't replicate... No, Osiris said the Federation couldn't replicate the spore drive. How? Why? They have Stamets. He built it in the first place. Couldn't he just rebuild it? Another one? They've got his schematics. They've got 900 years of technology. They can't... It just doesn't make any sense why they can't replicate the thing that... They have the engineer there who can do it. And they say they still can't? It makes no sense. But now they have a whole race of people that can use the spore drive. So that works around the tardigrade problem. So...
Yeah.
I mean, can we get more of the drive now?
Maybe. Yes, Michael gets captured, and Rin and Book get captured. Rin gets killed. And they're going to basically get the information from Book where this dilithium planet is by putting some pain mechanism on. And she chokes out your buddy, Kenneth Booker.
Kenneth
Mitchell, right. And, he kind of gets exposed to who she really is, kind of thing. So
she's such a bitch.
What a bitch, Osiris.
Why isn't she one of the hot, sexy stripper Orions? Why is she gotta be so mean?
She's just a mean Orion. So when she's going to tell Book that you can tell him everything, she hits the quarantine shield. Which is I guess is handy. She just had to punch it real quick.
I guess.
And she steals one of the guards' guns, and they run out the back door.
run away, because sickbay's got all these back doors.
And it's not even that. It just seems so like third grader kind of writing.
I mean, these last 3 episodes are mostly action schlock.
And then we get a whole talk about action schlock. I'm assuming your brain was exploding. The fight on the turbo lift.
I was so angry. There's like this infinite empty space.
Yeah, I mean, is Discovery just like a giant open
warehouse?
Space?
Is it a multi-mile long warehouse? I mean, we've seen it on the outside. It doesn't look like a warehouse.
And I know they've shown this in season 2, but it still never made sense.
I mean, people were explaining like, oh, it's just X-ray. You know, they're just like shooing you through everything, and I was like, it's doesn't make any sense. It's just there's this giant chasm and all these other turbo lifts and there's miles of corridor that you can just see empty space. Like, where's the rest of the ship? I mean, this thing has decks, and you know, they're also. The ship is also just completely wrong, because even it was in the previous episode when she jettisons some people out. She's on deck 5. They literally say she's on deck 5. And when they jettison the people out, they get sucked out to the airlock. They're on a horizontal plane, but somehow they get sucked out through the vertical bottom of the ship, even when she's up on deck 5. How?
Yeah.
I mean, the people doing this visual effects have no idea, like, what's on. They're just being told to do this, and like, with no thought about where they are on the ship, what's the ship interior actually going to look like, and like, Discovery's got some of the biggest hallways of any Starfleet ship ever. So where do they have room for these giant caverns? I can't turn my brain off enough to enjoy this stuff.
Yeah, I was like. If you would have put them into a tube where they're flying in and, you know, up and down and all around, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense.
Because we've seen...
But they're not in a tube. They're like in a gigantic floating box TARDIS flying through. It's just like, what? Why?
I mean, like, if it was Osiris' ship, sure, because we see a Discovery gets swallowed up by Osiris' ship later. And that's a giant thing. So, I mean, turbolifts moving in and out through that interior section of Osiris ship, sure, that makes sense. But there's no place on Discovery big enough for that to happen. I mean, if you just look at the shuttle bay's only like 2 or 3 decks tall. And and that's one of the tallest parts on the ship, except for the neck. I mean, like, we're seeing this expansive space that's bigger than any part of the ship could be.
Yeah.
Much less all the interiors that are obviously there. And what about all the working parts that make the ship run?
Yeah.
Like, is this just a big hollow? Is the ship just a big hollow empty space?
No, it's like the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside,
especially inside the walls.
Yeah, exactly. I failed to mention too. Just before they left Federation headquarters, escaped, they were getting shot at inside their shields. They blast through the shields. I mean, if most of the fleet's there, why didn't they destroy Discovery?
Why didn't they disable it?
And then,
like, I mean,
and then the whole fleet from Navarre show up, the Vulcan, Romulan.
And they don't do anything.
And they tell them to back off because they don't want.
They never got to tell them to back off. Michael said, "I'll tell them to back off. They trust me," but she never got to because she told Admiral Vance to back off.
Yeah,
and Admiral Vance hung up on her, and he backed off. But she was like, "Let me tell everyone else," and Osiris took her off the bridge.
So they escape. Also, previous episode, the decks where the bridge crew is, they start sucking the air out. Why they didn't suck the air out completely, I don't know. They just like crack the door open slightly.
Osiris wants them to die slowly.
Yeah.
So they can have just enough time to sabotage the ship.
Yeah,
it's like a Bond villain.
Yeah, no, she is kind of.
We're going to provide you with just enough time to sabotage us.
Yeah, so they come up with this plan where Michael sends them a message that, you know, basically to blow up one of the nacelles things, because apparently when Tilly was sad, she was hiding out in the nacelles.
Man, it's been since Next Generation since we've seen inside a nacelle.
I think we saw. Was it nacelles? They were inside the nacelles in
Enterprise.
In
yeah,
Enterprise,
they did that once. I'm sorry, it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Getting from there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a long time. Getting from there to here. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Getting from there to here. Yeah, it's been a long time. Getting from there to here. Yeah, it's been a long time. 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 Getting from there to here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they go to plant a bomb there, but they're all running out of air. And what was the reason that the navigator, I can never say her name right.
Detmer?
No, not Detmer.
Owu.
Why? How come she can?
Maybe she's a Belta Loda from Expanse, and she's been in low oxygen areas a long time. See?
They're not animals.
Animals. Treat us like animals. They don't give us no air, so we don't have to breathe without it. I think that's what happened. It's Expanse. Yeah. Except they don't do asphyxia and hypoxia like the Expanse did, because everyone just starts like, oh, I can't move anymore. No one goes silly crazy like you would and turn blue like if you were actually running out of air. Mm-hmm. My wife Kaylee she's in the medical field. She's like, yeah, they did hypoxia wrong. She's like, Expanse did it better. I'm like, yeah, Expanse did do it better. But Star Trek Discovery doesn't care about actual science, nor do they care about science established in the fake science of other Star Trek. They just make up their own thing and shrug it all off.
Well, and they did a lot of talking too, which
so much talking,
which takes up a lot of oxygen. So I would think they would try to save their breath. But so the crew are all passing out, and O is the only one that can take this bomb to the nacelle, and she plants it where one of the dots, basically saves her. One
of them get controlled by the sphere data.
Yeah,
because a whole bunch of them came out helping them controlled by the sphere data.
So now we have like little R2-D2 black hole type of droids now, which we've never seen before.
I mean, they introduced them in season 2.
No, I mean we've never seen in Star Trek.
Oh yeah, I mean it makes no sense because they introduced them in season 2 to like fix the hull, basically just like R2-D2 and Phantom Menace. And they've never, ever been in Star Trek anywhere before. Those might have been handy when the Borg cut a sphere out of the Enterprise dish in that one episode, Next Gen.
So anyways, O's saved. The oxygen gets turned on when
Michael resets the computer after a really long, awkward fight with Osira in Starfleet headquarters.
In not headquarters, but the data room.
I know, but it's the same set as the.
And like she got pushed inside that weird.
She got pushed in a wall of programmable matter. I don't know why there's just a random wall of programmable matter, in the computer room.
And then Osira was like, "Yep, she's dead." And then she turns around, and then she comes out with her gun blazing. Like, how'd you get the gun?
Did she programmable matter the gun?
I don't know.
I mean, she kind of had... I mean, like, when she used the phaser and seal her wound, it looked like it was programmable matter that came out of her wrist thingy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, is she just used the programmable matter in her wrist thingy to make a bigger gun? I mean,
I don't mind the cool text advancements we're seeing, 900 years in the future. That's cool with me. It's just some things that don't make sense, because she had one of the... Emerald Chain's guns with her. How did she get pushed into that? I don't remember her hands having a gun in it when she gets pushed into that programmable matter. So that's the part where I'm like, and then she comes out with her hands like it's pushed out, like she's like her arms extended. Like how deep is that stuff?
I don't know. Why is there a coffin-sized wall of programmable matter like vertically up on the wall, like just to be pushed into? Like it's the only part of the wall that has programmable matter on it. It doesn't look like a console, because I mean, Bookship is programmable matter on the console. It's like only an inch deep. Why is there like multiple bodies deep, like closet of programmable matter? I don't understand.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No.
Yeah, so she kills Osira. So shoots her in the head. So she's dead. So that was the end of her. And
yay.
And then we find out they obviously they're going to eject the warp core and detonate it, and they're going to use Book to interface with the spore drive to take them to the dilithium planet, where the rest of the crew is stranded, dying of radiation sickness.
Yay!
And yeah, I I got issues in some ways. This, I mean, it's not a terrible thing, but first of all, Book doesn't know how to do the jump, so he's, you know, he does it last minute. But also, how far does it take to eject the warp core? That was like dropping down like a long line of that tube that dropped out. It went forever.
Oh, I mean, they don't know what this ship looks like on the inside or anything. Because I mean, in Voyager, it just popped right out. Because I mean, the warp tube is supposed to be like pretty much runs from the bottom of the ship to the top of the ship. I mean, in the secondary hull anyway. Because it's just a giant antimatter, and this was like a tiny little, I don't know, tube thing that pops out. It was like scraping the edges and the sides. Like, oh my god, that thing's gonna blow up before it even gets out. That's not a gentle ejection.
So they're like, okay, Book, you can jump, and obviously he jumps at the last minute because we see them later on. But yeah, they destroy Osiris' ship as well. So I mean, the Emerald Chain obviously will still exist, but it won't be in under Osiris' command any longer since she's dead and her crew and ship are all been destroyed. So back on the dilithium planet, they are slowly figuring out what's going on with Su'Kal, the stranded child or now adult. He somehow in utero took on some of the aspects or properties of this dilithium planet.
And subspace somehow.
Yes. Well, because dilithium has like aspects that connects with subspace. And then also, when Adira shows up, her past boyfriend
is visible in the. So what is he? Is he like not really a Trill? What kind of alien is he? So that he can be incorporeal, dead, and get recognized by the holograph emitter to emit a version of him.
I don't really understand.
This show makes no goddamn sense, not even within Star Trek realms of reason.
Like, why would the computer recognize Teal, the character Teal, out of
Adira's mind?
Adira is, I mean, before Teal was literally just a manifestation of, which it was a good visual story. You know, it'd be like, you know, Dax talking to one of her past, you know, hosts.
Yeah, but I mean, they had to like make them inhabit someone else's body. Like,
no, I'm just saying it was a good visual story of like kind of like if you're having a conversation or some way of interacting with the person. But of course, we don't get anybody else from the past. Like all the other people we saw a couple episodes back where we first where they go to Trill. Yeah, I don't remember the episode yet. Forget Me Not, right? Yeah, it's got to be Forget Me Not. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But the episodes where she sees all her past, all the past Trill hosts, we don't see them.
Nope.
We just see
Gray.
Gray. What did I call him? Teal.
He called him the color of his hair. Yes.
So sorry.
You're fine.
Teal? I don't know. That's weird.
I mean, he's named after a color. I remember Gray because I like the Gray Still Plays. When we did our 10 things that aren't Star Trek or whatever episode, I did a lot of Gray Still Plays videos, and I remember because I still watch Gray Still Plays.
Anyways, it doesn't make any sense, and I don't dislike the character Gray. It's just that doesn't make sense that they could, unless there's something else going on with Adira and the Trill insider, not Trill, the symbiote insider. So
I don't know. Nothing really makes all that much sense in this show. They don't stick to established canon. They just make stuff up and just go with it, I guess.
But yeah, so they find out that obviously this ship that they're crashed on and in the Hollow program is literally falling apart now since they showed up. So, and they have to get off this place, but they don't even know if Discovery's there yet or not. But they have to get Su'Kal to kind of like grow up really quick and not be scared of going through this door. So, we go through all these hoops where Saru is trying to befriend Su'Kal and trying to gain his trust. And finally, when he does, there's this creature that keeps on scaring Su'Kal constantly.
Looks like Davy Jones from the Knights of the the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
So they finally convinces Su'Kal to go through this door, and it's basically, we see the death of his mother, and we see other people who have died too, probably people of the crew, and he just doesn't want to revisit it. And we see Su'Kal as a child scream out, and we see how the ripples of that causes the burn. So when they get to do that, the program can end. We can end the program, and this is when we get Discovery drops in finally to beam them out and get them out of there. And at the very end, Dave, we finally, after all this time, they have made Michael Burnham the captain of Discovery.
Yay!
I mean, it's better than her running around everyone's back and doing whatever the hell she wants. At least now she gives the orders, right?
I mean, sure. But now Discovery is the most advanced merchant ship in the fleet.
Or is it, because now empaths can operate?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They're probably BS some way around it where they still can't replicate Discovery's stuff.
Well,
even
at least
though
they have more dilithium now, so they can mine this dilithium planet. I don't know, Dave. These episodes, your thoughts of these 3 episodes and the closing of Discovery season 3.
I'm glad I watched them as close together as possible. I mean, I guess I could have waited to watch them all today, but I can only have so much Discovery in a day. I guess it played better watching them all at once. I think I'd be a lot more frustrated waiting from episode to episode. I don't understand Osira's peace thing. It just seemed like it was all posturing. Like maybe she was just lying to the computer the entire time and was able to fool it most of the time, except for the one time. It just seemed like a giant weird.
See, I didn't feel that way. I thought that she was actually being honest. She wanted to work this through.
But she didn't. As soon as he asked her for something, she's like, hell no. And then
no, she wanted to put her on trial. It's what he said. You have to answer for your crimes. And she was like, I ain't doing that. Fuck you. I'm out.
I mean, but what did she expect? I mean, it's like she expected it to go down that way because, I mean, she had all this contingent. She had these people held prisoner. I mean, if she was really showing a show of good faith, she would have let everyone go.
Admiral Vance is saying, all the stuff that you've done, these labor camps they have, you can't have those anymore. You can't, all these things you can't have anymore because this goes completely against the Federation and what we stand for. And you just being part of this is not, we can't have you part of it as well. And you have to stand trial for what you've done. And she's like, yeah, fuck you. So I get why she was thinking that she could take the Federation and change its trajectory into something more compromised. So
I guess, I don't know. It just seemed like she was looking for a fight the entire time.
That would be a waste of time, honestly. I think she was really genuinely trying to.
Well, that's why I felt it was a waste of time because I mean, it
was a waste of time in the end. Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. I don't know. I just really wish, like I said, like a couple episodes ago, I just wish they would have put Adira in the background and just focused on the burn. And then have Adira be like the big bad next season or whatever. And then You
mean Osira, not Adira.
Yeah, Osira. That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe Adira could be that guy. Who knows? I gotta get Gray back. I'll kill everyone to get Gray back.
Who's this Teal guy?
Who's this Teal? Is Teal the same as Gray?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt rushed. Like her character didn't get developed. She's this evil person, and all of a sudden, this evil person does another evil thing. But then, as soon as she does this evil thing, she's like, "Oh, let's do peace." And then, as soon as they turn her down, she's like, "All right, we're gonna go back to fucking everything up." And I don't know. It felt like too much was going on with her. I didn't really buy her really wanting to do peace because she's just this person that's done all these atrocities. So I thought she was trying to lie to the computer and she was able to fake it most of the time. And the one time she didn't fake it good enough or something. She's like, "Oh, ask me again about that." So that's why I thought she was faking it the whole time.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it's just a trying to get their guard down, but she wasn't also doing anything else in the background of this. I don't know. It was just, I don't understand why it was there. And then they just kill her. I don't know.
I kind of thought they would use her again.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it killed her like that.
I don't know. They just not. They just try to do too much in these episodes, and it's just like, I mean, we've got enough plots to go through: building the Federation, replicating the spore drive, getting something else other than, Stamets and the spore drive. I mean, they never brought up that thing that Tilly and Stamets were talking about, the dark matter thing. That they'd never mentioned that ever again. For a workaround for the spore drive. It's just been bizarre. They propose all these plot lines and they just dead end them.
What did you think of her putting Stamets and shooting him out like that? I mean, does that make sense to you that she did that? I mean, then Book operates the. I mean, I guess it makes sense for the story because Osiris would have made Stamets do it immediately.
I mean, it makes sense for the story. I mean, it makes sense that they have the life support belts 900 years in the future instead of in TOS time. That makes more sense. Although Stamets seems like he should have been broken in half because he got sucked. It looks like the thing bent in half when he got sucked out the window.
Yeah.
So Stamets should be in really bad shape after that happening. I feel like Stamets is going to hate Michael Burnham for a long time.
She gave her that look.
Stink eye.
Yeah, he was like, fuck you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're finally in an era where she's the captain and they can have her, when she does crazy things, she's got the whole crew behind her instead of her just being a Black Ops person, which might make things go better. Maybe the show can finally be an ensemble show with the rest of the crew doing stuff around her.
Yeah.
Next season, maybe. I don't know. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of action, and some of it was fine, and some of it I just can't turn my brain off hard enough to enjoy this. And be like, this doesn't match up with anything Star Trek before. It doesn't match up with science, like the hypoxia that they didn't get from being, oxygen deprived that long. I don't know. I just feel like the actors do such a great job, and even though the visual effects are stupid, they look good.
Yeah, no, they're great effects.
They look great. I mean, they do great work. It's just whoever's telling them to design it this way or letting him design it this way and without giving him the correct guidance for how ships are supposed to look on the inside. It just irks me to no end that they can't have any visual tie-ins to what it should actually be. They're just I know it's all made up. It's a fictional show. I know this, but at the same time, like, there's suspending your disbelief and there's like, this is a magic fantasy world that's not even science fiction anymore. It's like science fantasy, science Doctor Who, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's not
fantasy.
It's not what Star Trek has ever been. I mean, Star Trek has done some dumb things. They've done Threshold, they've done the Omega Particle, which were all kind of dumb. But I don't know. Star Trek Discovery has brought the dumb to new lows, and it's just kind of hard to wrap my head around and enjoy. I mean, taken on their own, the episodes are kind of okay. I mean, like, it was kind of fun seeing Michael Burnham do John McClane. But
yeah, no, she kicked ass. I mean, her fight scenes, like we were talking way back, the first season when she takes on.
Although she seems to forgot her Vulcan martial arts.
Well, she gave what's his name, Stamets, the nerve pinch.
But she never does it to any bad guys.
She took out that one Orion
with a Vulcan pinch.
No, she was like choked him out.
Yeah,
with her legs.
That's true.
I think there's a Bond girl that did that. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds like something like a Bond girl might do. I don't know. I gotta say I was overall disappointed by the season. From just an overall enjoyment, it's definitely better than Picard was. At least it wasn't boring. Whereas that's Picard's huge downfall. It was just absolutely boring. Episode 1 to episode 10, it was just a snore fest. This at least was entertaining and upbeat and exciting.
Yeah.
But it just, you got to turn your brain off to enjoy it, I think. And I don't know. The Expanse this season is so fantastic. so good in and out, and I'm in love with it, and it's so well done, so well written, and everything. And this is just kind of like, I can take it or leave it. And it's sad because Star Trek is one of my favorite franchises. It's literally why we decided to do a Star Trek podcast.
Right. No, I know. I get it. Yeah.
On to you, Aaron. What do you think about these last 3 episodes?
First, let me just point out, I think, thank God, finally they've made Michael Burnham captain of Discovery. I mean, God damn it. 3 seasons to make that decision or get her there. I mean, I don't understand the Michael Burnham, the writing of the character. It's everything's there to make that character captain, and they kept on hedging that bet for some reason. It's no fucking sense to me. No fucking sense. It's just put this person through agony constantly. That's what we're going to do. The action part is fun, and there's a lot of cool action part, but it's almost too schlocky at certain points. I was kind of aggravated with the sickbay scene where she escapes with Book. She just hits the thing and they run out a back door. I'm like, all right, come on. Could we have written something a little more adult than it seems like a 5th grade something they would do, Oh, he got the jump on me and I ran out the back door, It's not a huge deal. I can go without it. I mean, I can let that go. But I mean, it's there was a lot of things like that scene where she fights Osira in the data room. It just was there's so many wasn't there a part where they both fire the phasers together and they kind of bounce off each other?
Oh, and I think they were about to, but there's energy surges happening all throughout the room, and the energy surge happens in between them, I think.
I don't know. It just was what is going on? And parts of it just doesn't it doesn't jive with me anymore. It's just like you said, it's almost too fantasy-like, and I don't mind a little fantasy thrown in. I don't mind a little silliness here and there or weirdness. Those are things I did when we saw the Guardian of Forever, and he's a guy named Carl.
But that's very Star Trek. That's actually something that would happen in Star Trek, and that was well done.
Yeah, I like that. That was cool. But certain things I thought was weird, and the dots, I'm just kind of seem uninspired. They seem very ripped off from Star Trek or Black Hole or
Star Wars.
Like that. I mean, yeah, Star Wars or Black Hole. It's just I'm not really. I don't want to see that in Star Trek. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. We've never seen something quite like that.
Hell, in Wrath of Khan, there was a guy in the background with a vacuum cleaner because they don't have robots in Star Trek world. Data's a one-of-a-kind thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Parts of me are confused, what they're trying to do and why they choose to do things. I guess it's just the writers coming up with new ideas, and
they just want to Star Warsize it, and that's the problem. This is
the burn being Sakal screaming and somehow fused with dilithium. I don't even understand what that was about. That doesn't make a lot of sense, period. I mean, usually if your baby has been altered by the radiation and the dilithium planet you're on, it will be stillborn,
yeah, it's just that fetus would just be dead, and the fact that just his scream causes the burn. Why not any other vocal thing he does? Why not speaking?
Do we have to put the sedate Sakal for the rest of his life so he can never get angry again?
No, they said it's only because he's on the planet with dilithium. He resonates with it, so he can scream and cry all he wants on Kaminar with Saru, and Saru can nurse him back to health.
As long as he's away from
as long as he's
other
away from
dilithium crystals, right? Yeah, so there's just things if you wrote that into one part of the plot line, but there's all these chain of things that kind of aggravate me, and it's just enough to make me go, I don't really enjoy it. And not just enjoy it, I feel like we're missing the essence of Star Trek. I don't mind an action, plot. I mean, there's plenty of, episodes.
The Prison Break episode was a fine turn your brain off, and it was enjoyable enough action.
Oh yeah, there's there's lots of action ones that I love, and action schlock that's in DS9 and Next Gen and Voyager. I mean, there's plenty of those, and it's fine. We don't always have to be walking out like, wow, what a great idea, or what a great philosophy, or that one made me think about this topic or something like that. The problem is I don't get anything from Discovery.
Exactly.
I don't walk away going like, that has changed my viewpoint on anything. That has turned that on my head, or at least made me think, for the next 2 or 3 days afterward. That's what Star Trek has always done to me before. And I'm not getting that anymore.
Not once in however many episodes.
I want to be challenged with my thinking. I want to think deeper about issues and topics and the ethics of things, the morality of things. I'm not seeing it. I just and that's what I get frustrated with this series, is that they edge so close to getting to something that could be like, this could be a really interesting plot. This could talk about some deep philosophical like argument or something like that, and then they walk away from it to shoot phasers and make I like science quips. I don't know.
Picard could have done a lot of it too, and they just didn't. I mean, none of the CBS Alexa shows have come close to like getting to what the old heart of Star Trek was, with like making you think. And not every single episode of every other Star Trek series made you think.
Right.
I mean, there was a bunch of action slock in there, or just episodes that didn't make any sense.
Or silly episodes.
Or silly episodes. But there was at least a handful a season.
Nothing about Picard has made me think about anything. I mean, they get close to it. They talk about subjects about like a fledgling race of androids and what that means. But we find out, all the work that Picard did in Measure of Man and all the stuff that Data represented was all thrown away when you have literally like android slaves building your ships on Mars.
Yeah, we haven't seen any synthetic life forms. Did they outlaw synthetic life forms again?
I don't know. I just, there's a lot of frustration on my part watching these things, because I feel like they've walked away from the essence of it. And there's a lot of things I do like. I mean, and let me list them again. These things. I do like the Michael Burnham character. I think she's written poorly for a lot of things, why they make her go through the shit that she's gone through the last 3 episodes to finally get to the captain's chair. She should have been in the captain's chair, I think, by the end of season 1. But whatever, that's just me. Or at least mid-season 2. Why did we throw freaking Pike in? I mean, I like Pike.
I mean, I wish they could have done fleet action, had both the ships working together. I mean, like... And then
in addition to all of that, I mean, it's like Pike, like Tilly and Jet Reno and Stamets, Adira, all these characters I love. We are finally seeing more of them, finally, but it took them a long time to start putting them and giving them more screen time. Fucking give them more screen time. These are great characters. We want to see them. People love Pike so much.
And they're great actors.
Yeah, people like the character Pike so much, and the crew that we saw with Spock and everything, they want a series on that with Strange New Worlds, which is great. The choices they make, I can't understand anymore. And like Osira, a good bad guy. I could see Osira showing up again, but then they kill her. It's like killing Darth Maul in.
But Darth Maul did come back.
Okay, Darth Maul did came back, but that wasn't going to be like Darth Maul should have like somehow survived and then show up on Revenge of the Sith or something like that. I don't know. I'm just like, they killed him right away.
He's in all the animated shows, and at the end of
okay,
Solo.
Dave, I get your point, but after Phantom Menace,
I agree.
We had Attack of the Clones, and then we had Revenge of the Sith, and we had no Darth Maul, and we were like, well, that was a great villain. We just got rid of him right away. So.
Yeah, they should have definitely brought him back for the movie.
Whatever. I'm just saying, Osira is a cool character. Now, who are they going to put in Osira's place, or will there be another villain from the Emerald Chain? I don't know.
Maybe they'll get Lou Ferrigno to play another.
I doubt it.
No.
So all these things like frustrates me. Like you were saying before, the visual and those things never frustrate me, but the visual of the turbolift fight, I don't mind a turbolift fight. That'd be cool, but the way they depict it is bonkers. It's like going Willy Wonka's in the Chocolate Factory or something like that. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, it's the whole like boat ride scene. It makes no sense. And we've seen inside of turbo lifts. We've seen them in Star Trek V, and we've seen them in Next Gen. They are tubes because the ship, believe it or not, has machinery in it, so it can function.
Right. They're tubes, and they connect you from deck to deck. And yes, they go up and down, side to side, but it doesn't mean that
they're not magical flying machines.
They're just flying around in an empty warehouse in a different dimension or something like that connects you to different doors, like Monsters Inc. or something like that. So
yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like the Monsters Inc. like door factory or whatever.
I don't get it. It's just like, why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. And it's visually beautiful. They did a great job, but there's no thought behind it. Just let's make this weird and crazy. Like, that is not what this is about. I don't know. This is my thing. I finished season 3. I really don't care what happens season 4 anymore. I don't care what happens next season of Picard. Will I watch it? Someday. I'm just not excited for it. There's glimmers of things I enjoy. There's glimmers of characters and ideas that I think are almost there, and man, if they would have just talked more, or they worked on, but they don't.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's better just that we just wait for the shows to be done and then binge them. Yeah. I think they're slightly more watchable when they resolve their own plot holes than other episodes. Granted, they usually do it in really bad ways, like the burn. Like, what the fuck?
The burn could have been so much more interesting. A little kid screaming who has been fused to dilithium in subspace somehow. I don't know.
As dumb as an idea as the Omega particle is, it's like genius level compared to this.
Yeah,
I just can't wrap my head around how dumb some of their ideas are, and it's just like, what? You can't even technobabble it away in a way that's somewhat believable.
Here's the thing: is this is what when I'm talking about this, you have to understand, and I know Dave feels the same way, that Star Trek was and it is so vitally important to me as a person. It was a guiding light for so many things, not just good TV and good movies. It was like a way to be of who you should identify who you are. Yeah, okay, maybe you're never going to be, Spock, or maybe you're never going to actually be, Picard or Cisco or any of these people, but something to say what would my hero do at this point in their life? And parts of me what is this teaching me at all? There's nothing that I walk away from and it means anything to me. And yeah, I'm an adult now. It's different, but it something should ring through to me, I don't know.
I completely agree. I mean, we started this podcast because we bonded together over our love for Star Trek, and you wanted to do a Star Trek comic, and we were so excited about Star Trek, even when there was barely any rumor of any TV show happening. All the rumors that were happening when we originally were talking about doing the show didn't even come close to coming to fruition.
Right.
I mean, a Section 31 show was one of the first things they talked about, or something like that. I mean, granted, they are going to do that, unfortunately, and it's going to probably be terrible because Kurtzman's involved. But I don't know. And when you say the spirit of Star Trek ringing through, I agree. There's nothing mentally stimulating in the show at all. And in fact, it's easier to enjoy if you can turn your brain off completely. And I just can't. I like to think about stuff and get into things. And this show just, I don't know. I know some entertainment's supposed to be turn off and just watch it. But the soul of Star Trek is just devoid of these new CBS All Access shows. I mean, even the design philosophy of the ships 900 years in the future doesn't ring true to. There's no callbacks to anything in Star Trek except for the Voyager, kind of. Yeah. And it's like the Elon Musk Cybertruck version of what a starship would be. Yeah. It's just a bunch of hard-shaped polygons with no soul, no visual cues and callbacks to anything Star Trek for the other ships. The ring ship, the nub, the nog. It just looks like a weird nub. I'm just like, what is, there's the Star Trek had a design philosophy where that if you looked at a ship, I'm like, okay, that's from Star Trek. Or if you look at a ship from Star Wars, oh, that's from Star Wars. And then there's like just generic sci-fi feel. And even Expanse ships all have a distinct feel. Like I could probably pick out a ship from the Expanse and a list of starships, like in just a visual like map of starships. I mean, different have a very strong aesthetic feel, and that's gone. And someone was like, "Oh, if you like," in our Facebook group, someone posted the pictures, and someone was to me like, "If you don't like it, you should not watch it," or whatever. I'm like, I mean, whatever floats your boat, dude. But I'm like, this Star Trek has always had visual cues to its past. I mean, Enterprise D looked a lot different than Enterprise A or just NC 1701, but. Right. There's visual cues. There's a saucer, the secondary hull. You've got the 2 warp nacelles. I mean, like it's always iterated and evolved and gotten a little bit different, but still somewhat the same. Yeah. And we don't even have the visual language of Star Trek anymore, except for maybe the colors on their uniforms, which they did all finally adopt the new gray uniform with the.
Yes, thank you. I was so happy to see that at the end. I was like, okay, finally took off the blues and put on the grays. I mean, it's like. Like I said, I don't hate, and I think Discovery, especially this season, is far better than Picard.
Absolutely.
Better storytelling, better interesting characters, more endearing characters. There's just something there's no soul sometimes to me, and there's something missing.
It is soulless.
I don't want to say it's soulless. There is soul to it, but it's a different soul. It's completely changed the meaning of Star Trek to me.
But look at Lower Decks. Lower Decks had the soul.
It did, but Lower Decks didn't take itself seriously. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe because they take itself so seriously. We are Star Trek, so we have to be so serious about what we're doing.
But Voyager and all the other shows are serious too, but they still had, even as bad as Voyager was sometimes, it still had the soul.
Here's the thing is, okay, Voyager, bounced off of, if you look at it, it's like Next Gen, then DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. They are all kind of piggybacked off each other, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you go to the original Star Trek, and you just told these actors, okay, this is the spaceship. Oh, that's a fucking weird looking spaceship. This is these are your costumes. I'm wearing these rainbow color costumes. What's that about? One's mustard, one's blue, one's, red. I mean, here's the set designs. This, it all looked a little silly, right?
Yeah.
But we've accepted that into our canon of what we like. And then we get to Next Gen. Next Gen, you got to know that Patrick Stewart is what the fuck is this uniform that I got to wear? Ship.
So they switched yellow to red?
The red, not the red, but the ship was totally redesigned of that. And a lot of people, I don't think I liked it right away. I got to like it later on, but it took me a while.
I was a kid, and I had toys of it, so I loved the design.
Oh, I had a toy
instantaneously.
Of it too. I had a toy of it too, but it was, remember, I was the old Star Trek, so I was like, that's weird. That's a weird looking Enterprise. But then after Enterprise, we had all this, we had, 7 seasons of that in the movies, and then we had DS9, and we had then Voyager. And so it all worked out that they were all kind of working with each other in the same universe. Now we get to Discovery, and maybe they felt like we have this huge weight to depict Star Trek in a solemn and serious manner, and there are some silly parts to it, but not enough, you know.
Yeah.
Like, think about there used to be like little jokes they would throw in, like Kirk and Spock McCoy would kind of like rib each other, or there'd be something weird happen. Or Data would say something strange and be like, "All right, Data, be quiet," you know, or Worf would start growling at something for no reason or get angry.
People would make fun of Neelix for no reason. Yeah, this was great.
Well, I don't know for no reason, but you know, like we would see, and like there is humor peppered through Discovery, but especially the first season, we really didn't get a lot of humor. Tilly brought most levity to everything.
Yeah, she did.
That's maybe why we all love Tilly so much.
But also, like, she didn't have like, some of her stuff in season 1 and season 2 was really funny. I don't even think Tilly got to be funny this season at all, really.
No, because all of a sudden she had to be number one, yeah. And she had to be serious all of a sudden. And she was in the background before, and the only one that we got was a second episode where she, when they showed up, into the future, far from home. So, I don't know. There's it, and the other things too that frustrates, and which I've talked in our previous episodes, was just like I don't know if it was Owu or whoever was like, "I love all you guys so much."
Yeah, it was Owu,
and I'm just like, guys, you know, I don't understand the loving constantly. I mean, if it would happen once in a while, I'd be like, okay, yeah, but it's like every episode they're crying and hugging each other, and I don't know, man. It's something weird. I can't. It has a soul, but it's just not the soul that I.
It's not Star Trek's soul. It's Star Wars' soul in a Star Trek skin.
Yeah.
In a Star Trek mask. And other than Mandalorian, Star Wars isn't even good Star Wars anymore. So why would you copy Star Wars? I don't know. I don't know. I just, there's things that frustrate me that anyways, like I was saying before, this was like something that was very important to me my whole life. And that's why I take it very seriously. And that's why I worry about it. And maybe I just need to step back from this all. And, you know, and that's kind of where we are with, you know, when we get to episode 300, we just need to step back, reassess what we want to do, because maybe these are not the series and the franchise for us anymore. You know, something's changed. Maybe we've changed. It's changed. Everything's changed. I don't know. We haven't changed. I mean, we do as we get older, but with the soul of Star Trek being disembodied from what the shows are now, I don't know who these shows are for. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, there are Star Trek fans who are enjoying them, but like we said earlier, like there's the love it all the way or hate it all the way, and there's like no one in between, and it's hard one way or the other, and it's just frustrating that you can't criticize things anymore without being called a hater or you know, like we're just being as objective as we possibly can from our honest point of view. And like, you know, like it's like opinions don't exist anymore. It's like all good or all bad, and there's no shades of gray.
Shades of gray.
that episode will always come back to haunt me. But I don't know. It's bizarre, and you know, we've even done episodes worst of the worst. Where we just kind of rate our worst episodes of Star Trek, and it's just like it's not even fair to do that now because Discovery and Picard would probably fill up all those episodes now.
I don't know. I mean, there's some pretty bad episodes, previous episodes in the other series. It's just that if you took any of these episodes standalone, most of them are pretty decent. It's just the stories that irk us, I think, more than anything. I feel the stories are incongruent. They don't adhere to canon. They don't adhere to some of the previous things that happened before. It's just weird things that just that irk you, and they're not always glaring. They're just little things that just nudge you, and you're like, "Why is that? What?
What?
You know?
What? I don't know. I mean,
I mean, like one, just a small example is like I said before, when Burnham gets pushed in that like programmable matter thing, and then she comes out with her gun pointed. Like, first, how did she get the gun, and how could she lift her arm that high to point it out? Like, it just little thing. It's not going to ruin the whole episode for me, but it just makes me go like, what?
Well, you want to know another funny thing small like that? The guy who had his hand frozen in the second episode who comes back as Osiris henchman, like he does some, like he's like holding his hand still like it's frozen all the time, and this one he does like a weird gesture and points at like Tilly or something.
Yeah.
With the hand that's supposed to be frozen. I'm like, wait, wasn't that his frozen hand? That he can't move? Like, it was weird because every other scene he's holding it still, but he does this like really weird hand motion with it, like that where he's got dexterity in his hand that he's not supposed to have. Like,
I don't know, just stuff like weird. That. I mean, just I don't know. It doesn't ruin everything. It just makes you go like, what?
The turbo lift scenes do ruin everything.
Well, the turbo lift was really, really like, what is going on? So,
and the Kelpian being the source of the burn is also just kind of ruins the whole thing. It's just like, oh, this mystery. It's like, how are they going to find a way to make it dumb? And they did.
Yeah, I really thought they'd have like some deep, like scientific reason.
They said they were supposed to tie stuff into Calypso, and like nothing tied into Calypso. Like there's no other discovery sitting there in the nebula. That's what I was expecting to see because nothing is tying in anymore. It's bizarre, and it's just they can't even stick to their own canon that they're making in their own shows, much less anything that came before it. It's just baffling, and that's why it's so frustrating.
It is frustrating. I want Star Trek to be phenomenal, and they did it. They've done a lot of amazing feats. I mean, they've produced a beautiful, visually beautiful series.
They've hired world-class actors, even like the supporting cast, most of which I don't really know their names. They're all good. Detmer's good. Owo's good. Russell's good. I mean, they're all good actors. I mean, like, I don't think any one of them sucks. I think they're all capable, well-done actors, and Michael Burnham gets 90% of the screen time. And they're getting more, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But it's just everything comes back to the writing. Because the visual effects people and the direction of the visual effects people. Because the visual effects people are doing amazing work. They're just being told to do the wrong thing, I think.
Or not corrected when they say, hey, we're going to have them, whatever. It's just, they should be like, wait, what? How does the ship look like? What? How? Like, I don't know. It just seems lazy to me in some ways. And, I don't know.
There's no internal consistency in the show, and that's what's bothersome. At least Star Trek usually tried to be consistent internally, and they're not even trying on Discovery and Picard.
Honestly, I could honestly, all that I could walk away with and be like, all right, it's a little weird, or they didn't do that right. But again, the stories don't resonate at all with me. They're just, a plot to follow that doesn't make me feel anything in the end. It's just a chain of events that happen. And other series I watch, and I get invested in what's going to happen, and what's, you're not quite sure, what's going to happen. You're not quite sure who's going to live and who's going to make a huge mistake or something like that. And these are just like, we know that it's always safe. Like, all these characters are always going to be there, and even if that was the case, if the next gen, you're always going to know, besides Tasha Yar dying, that everyone's going to be there. But you would walk out with like a new idea or a different thought or maybe some performance to be like, wow, what a great line, like Drumhead, where Picard gives that speech or something like that. They're just like, you're just like, that's amazing. We're not getting that anymore. That lands mostly, I would say, on the writing.
I think 99% of our problem with the show is in the writing and the direction, because everything about the show is fantastic. Otherwise, great actors, special effects are well done. It's given a good budget, so the special effects can be good. It's just all the money's going everywhere but the writing, I guess. It's just incredibly disappointing that the show just doesn't stand on its own legs very well.
Yep.
I want Star Trek to be good, and like The Boys or like Expanse. These have been great shows. I mean, like I'm on the edge of my seat like every episode. I can't wait to see what happens next. And like I said, I gave these episodes a week's break because I wasn't excited. It's just like, oh, it's how are they gonna ruin the ending this time? And
well, I every like week when it came out, I mean, I think I waited a day for it to come out, and I begrudgingly watched it because I was like, I know I'm not gonna be able to cut through like all like 3 episodes in like a few days. I got to do it like spread it out. And it's like, and I watched it, and I was like, it was an okay episode, or that was all right, but it didn't make me. I wasn't crazy about it. I wasn't excited. That's what, and it kills me, man. I'm telling you, it's like
I want to be excited, and nothing about it makes me want to be excited. It's sad. It's like, early on, it was trying to be edgy, like it was trying to be Game of Thrones in space,
and that was sort of working for a second.
But then they gave up on the game because I mean, like, there's no stakes. Everyone's going to be fine. I mean, if this was really Game of Thrones in space and anyone could die at any second, that could be a much more tense show. It could be much more enjoyable because then there are stakes. I don't know. It's almost, the show's almost too safe for the TV space it's in. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I mean, Lower Decks, everything was pretty safe too, and I was ecstatic about Lower Decks.
But Lower Decks is kind of like doesn't take it seriously, so you walk in not taking it seriously, and then you're impressed because of what they've done.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, Lower Decks is the best that CBS All Access has given us, like, by far.
Yeah.
And there's love and care, and, like, they care about Star Trek canon in that show. Like, you can see it and hear it most of the time. They have some incredible deep cut in-jokes that, like, I even had to look up because it was so, like, obscure that I didn't remember it off the top of my head. It's great. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just the way it handles canon versus the way Discovery and Picard handle canon. It's like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just wish the show would have committed to the Game of Thrones in space thing. It was trying to be edgy in season 1, and then they kind of like, well, so much for that.
Yeah, right.
Man, I don't know. It could have been great if it was Game of Thrones in space. And before it came out, that's what I was wanting, Game of Thrones in space. Although Game of Thrones isn't even a good reference anymore since they botched their last season.
Yeah, no, but I get you. I mean, just like anything could happen,
Yeah, like make it tense. Make it like, I don't know, like, let's have some stakes in Star Trek for once. I mean, that's the prevailing thing. So let's see some stakes and see some death, like see some surprises. And they did. They killed Culper, and that was the most surprising thing that happened in season 1. And then they undid it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Lorca's the bad guy, and Ash Tyler's the double agent. Like, oh, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and then, since Lorca's the bad guy, of course he's got to die, because we got to kill our bad guys immediately, because why have them ever come back in another season? I mean, I guess they could, but
weird.
It's just sad. And the thing is, because, I mean, we are not enjoying it as much. I mean, we're also wanting to get into things that we will enjoy more. So hopefully the podcast will be more upbeat, because, I mean, we really do love Star Trek. It's been a huge part of our lives for basically our entire lives. But I don't know. It doesn't bring us the same joy as it used to. And I hope it'll get back to that way. But we might just start recapping Star Trek after it's done instead of during its run.
Yeah, maybe just recap the whole series or the whole season.
Just like our thoughts overall, because I think it'll save us some frustration.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, guys, you can always hit us up and let us know what you think. If you have contrary views, if you think we're missing something, but I don't think we are. But you could always hit us up at our email. Email is synthaholics@yahoo.com. You can find us on Twitter at Synthaholic Duo. You can also check us out on our Facebook group page, Facebook.com/groups/Synthaholics. And this show, you can always support us through our Patreon.com/Synthaholics. All right, Dave. The end of Discovery for season 3. We'll have to find out when season 4 comes out, but I know they're starting pre-production from that already, so
yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm more excited about Strange New Worlds at this point, but
Yeah, no, there's gonna be some cool shit for that.
And Lower Deck season 2. Woo!
Yeah,
Can't wait.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys. Until next week, live long and prosper, one and all.
Side of Mars. Well, McCoy, my boy, come mix me a drink. Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink, and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend